Hi, welcome to Bergen Stages, our entertainment television magazine here at Bergen Community College. I'm Jim Bumgardner, your host. As you know, traditionally we talk about the shows that we have coming up here on our campus, but today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to take the spotlight and shine it onto our community and talk about theater that's happening right here in Bergen County. And today I have two special guests with me today. They are from the Garage Theater Company, Michael Bias and Tom Molyneux. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Yes,
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about where you are and how people can get to the Garage Theater.
Okay, well, we're in residence at Fairleigh Dickinson University here in Teaneck, New Jersey, and how do you get there? Take Route 4, get off the River Road exit, and we're right there.
Just follow directions to
Beckton
FDU.
Theater.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Cool,
yeah.
cool. And how long have you been there? I think this is a big year for you guys.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Well, it's the 20th anniversary, but the Garage has only been at the Beckton since.
It's 10 years.
Oh, 10 years.
10 years at Beckton,
That's
and
wonderful.
we were gypsies for 10 years before that.
But that got you into a great home, and you got a wonderful home there.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's
And
great.
it's-
So tell me, I know that I've read a lot of your website, which is a wonderful website, by the way.
Thank you.
That talks about the mission of the Garage Theater, because I think you do something a little different than most theaters in the county do. So can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, it came from, I should go back to the origin, actually, of the Garage. The Garage started 20 years ago. I was touring Germany with a production of Edward Albee's The Zoo Story. And we were playing places, we were playing gymnasiums, which are schools, and then we were playing places where, theaters where Beethoven had premiered a piece. But at the end of each of the performances, there would be a talk back with the audience. And 20 years ago, we weren't doing that at all in the States. And I came back and I said to myself, you know, I would love to do this type of theater.
Especially with a story like Zoo Story would have such powerful...
It was fabulous.
You want to talk about it.
It
Yeah,
was,
absolutely.
it was
Right,
fabulous. So the mission of the Garage and the germ of creating the Garage was to create this type of theater where there'd be a talk back with the audience after every single production. Now a lot of theaters are doing one night of talk backs or such. Right. But we do it after every single performance.
That's wonderful.
And whenever possible, we have the directors there. We've had some wonderful playwrights there to talk about their pieces. William Mastrosimone has been at the theater. David Shire has been at the theater.
Nice.
So we've had a lot of really interesting, wonderful people, and that's so we look for pieces that are issue-driven and character-driven. It's not to say that we're not going to do this wonderful comedy and make people laugh.
Right, right.
You know, it's not like everything is like, oh, it's theater.
Right.
You know?
But there's themes involved.
But
and rich
there are
themes
themes
somehow, even if
involved,
it's comedy.
and sometimes the conversations go on longer than the actual play did.
Wow.
You know,
Wow. And
so
Tom, you direct as well.
I do, yeah. I'm sort of an unofficial go-to on a couple of fronts. Yeah, I direct and I act.
So you've been
And-
part
and
of
he
this
writes.
audience, and you write. So you've
And
been part of this audience talkback.
Oh,
So-
yeah, oh, yeah.
So do they hit you up with things that you need to go contemplate?
Yeah,
or-
it's interesting. You get into wonderful things because why I'm really involved as a director and an actor is that Michael just the theater does interesting things, things you want to do. You know, I've directed Beckett's Happy Days. We just did Marcia Norman's Night Mother.
Wow.
You know, so it's those kind of plays, and you get into it, like Night Mother, for instance. And
You want to talk
daughter
about that.
relations, the daughter's going to commit
Why didn't you
suicide.
tear down the door to go
You
help
know,
her?
well, all those things we had discussions about. At the end, she'd go commit suicide.
Right,
you
right.
know, and at what point did you think she was going to commit suicide? I didn't think she would. And you get these arguments, and you get even back and forth husband-wife arguments.
Which is-
you know, where the wife will say something, and then the husband.
I didn't see that.
And then, well, what's it going to be like home tonight?
Right, right.
And we had one thing with, well, I won't name names, but an artistic director and a well-known actor were at the show, and he didn't. It was Happy Days. And he didn't really quite get it. You know, he liked to work on it, but he didn't quite get it, and he didn't think it worked. And then I heard from his wife. They had a discussion that morning, an argument about something. He suddenly said, "Wait, this is just like Happy Days."
Wow. Just talking her head off and just kind of going,
yeah. So
that's fun.
And you know, yeah.
But it's great, and I think that's part of, in reading your mission statement, was communication.
yeah, I believe that theater at its highest level is a sense of communication between artist and audience. And that's what triggers these conversations. I mean, if I tell you there's been shows that we've done that 3 days later I get a phone call in my office from someone who was at the production saying to me, you know, Michael, I was thinking about something that somebody said, and the conversation ends up going on for 15 minutes, you know, a week later, you know, over the phone.
Then you know it worked. You know
Absolutely.
what you're doing works.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And, you know, we did Doubt a few seasons ago. And the arguments back and forth was, you know, and people see things in the movies. And we talked about this during the Doubt talkbacks. Everyone knew it. Doubt is kind of a brand name.
Right.
But there's nothing like sitting in the theater and breathing the same air that the actors are breathing.
And the film, it forces you to look at something just the way the director wanted you to look, but on stage, you don't know where the audience's attention is. As much as you try to draw it somewhere, it still is watching the whole picture, and that's probably what generates a lot of the communication.
Yes, and I know I directed that particular piece, and I was very, very conscious of not taking sides.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and so many directors do, and it's so great to.
Here's the story. Do what you will with it.
Great. And I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted your story. So you came in from this tour of Germany and decided to do this kind of audience talkback theater, and then you created the Garage.
Then I created the Garage.
And why the Garage? Just the name.
Why the Garage? There's no pretensions here. It started out of my garage.
It did.
Yes.
I assumed it did, and you put a couple of chairs in there.
Exactly.
Theater can happen anywhere.
Exactly. We started doing classes out of the garage, and we were renting spaces in community centers in high schools and, you know, what have you, libraries. I remember one of our first productions, we did a new adaptation of Strindberg's Miss Julie, and we did it in the cafeteria of Englewood High School. We set up platforms, and
it's
so
theater.
Exactly.
You know, you just need, as we teach, the space, audience, and actors, and you've got theater
that's
happening.
all it takes.
And you do it. Do you still tour your shows around, or do you just stay in your space? Do you take them?
No, we pretty much stay in our space.
So people come to you now.
Yes.
We don't have to go out to the cafeteria.
Yes. Well, we spent, quite frankly, you know, in those early days, in the first 10 years, we spent more time looking for space than we actually did producing. So since we have the luxury and the support of Fairleigh Dickinson now, we can plan an entire season.
Great. And do you get a lot of their students coming to see the shows as well, or does it tends to be much of a community involvement in your shows?
We get a fair amount of their students.
Because it's right there in the midst of the campus,
Yes.
so it's very centrally located for
Yes.
them to be able
so
to.
we do get a fair amount of their students and community, and people actually cross over the river because we're doing interesting stuff.
Well,
so,
you do. And I know you've got a very interesting season for your 20th anniversary season.
Yeah, we're
coming up.
real excited about that.
I'm thrilled about it.
If you would have told us 20 years ago that we would still be here, I don't know.
And doing that, which gets us into funding. You know, it's been tough. You know, as you said, the first 10 years of just finding a space, and now you got a space. You don't get it for free, and you can't do these shows for free. There's royalties to pay, salaries to pay. So how is fundraising going? What are some of the ways that you
want
do?
to talk about the Kickstarter?
Talk about Kickstarter. What is explain to our audience what Kickstart is and how they can find.
Well,
how to get involved.
Kickstart, which I didn't know about. You had known about it,
Yes.
but it's funny. I was out my grandson's first birthday party, and my daughter-in-law has two stepbrothers, okay, and they were talking, and I was just kind of making conversation with them, and we're talking about something. Oh, you know, you should do go on Kickstarter. I said, what's that? And of course, they'll carry around their little portable, you know.
Yeah.
So they punched it up, and I saw it, and oh, this is interesting. I said, Mike, you know what? We should try Kickstarter. I said, oh, I know about. Yeah, get Justin.
So you go to the website and.
Yeah, I looked at the website and saw what it was, and Justin,
my
his son, is our techie, so he knows how. So he knew about it. So Michael, they made a video, got a thing on Kickstart. It's a funding. It's a kind of an arm to shuffle funding. So you can go on Kickstart, and you go on their site, do a video. You can do a little talk about the theater, about your project. You set a goal. You have to set a numerical goal, and you set there's a time limit. So, for instance, we said the goal was $10,000. And we had 30 days.
30 days.
30
to
days
raise
to get
it.
$10,000.
Right. If you get $9,900, you get nothing.
Oh wow.
You have
Oh,
to
wow.
meet the
I
goal.
didn't
All the
realize that.
pledges
I didn't
go.
know.
All the
Well,
pledges go back.
to the people.
Yeah,
that
to the
pledged.
people
people,
who
people
pledge
pledge.
money.
The
Do it.
Kickstarter takes your
Wow.
credit card number, but they don't send it in unless the
Until
goal
they
is
raise-
met.
oh,
goal
wow.
met. So it's kind of can get kind of
So do you
weird.
aim low because you want to make sure you get it?
Well,
or
you
say,
wanna get
what the heck?
money.
Let's shoot the
Well,
moon.
I mean, the reality is it cost X amount of dollars. So, I mean, I appreciate the way they do it because it keeps the integrity of this. It cost $10,000. We needed $10,000 to do the play. If we raised $6,000,
You can't do
we,
the play.
we can't do the play. So, and people are pledging for that particular play to be done. So it's a wonderful device. We've had to be very creative about funding in the last 2 or 3 years. It's changed. The landscape has changed tremendously.
And you got to be creative. You can't have the bake sales and bake sales. You know, there's certain
Yeah.
things you just got to say that they've had enough of those. We got to try something new.
Right.
It sounds like Kickstart was a great way to
Yeah.
to tap into a new.
Yes,
source.
and bake sales don't raise $10,000.
They do not as much as you
So,
want them to.
but you know, grants have dried up.
Sure.
The economy has changed.
Because you
I
get
mean,
state grants, you get
we get-
business grant, but
we
the
get-
small.
Yeah,
you know,
private foundation grants, grants from the state, grants from the county, but there's less money around.
Mm-hmm.
Now the good side is that our private giving, our personal giving, has gone up because they're making up the difference
Great.
of what we were getting in grants, but there's no way that it makes up the full difference. You know, but it's, you know, I always say to people, they say, well, how much do we need to donate? And whether it's $5, $25, $2,500, or $25,000, when we get a check in the office after a production, and no matter how much it is, it just changes everybody's mood for that day because somebody sent in something that they didn't have to send in.
Right, and they were getting nothing back
That's
as a
right.
ticket. They weren't seeing a
That's
show. They were
right.
just a gift from
And
them to
it's
you.
just like that moment of like, wow, somebody cares. There are people that really
Yeah,
care about
yeah.
what we're doing.
So, I mean, I think it's a great point that you're always in this pledge drive mode. Not that that's what we're doing today, but the fact is,
Yeah.
is that funding is always welcome
Yes.
whenever it comes. So let me just kind of switch topics here because you do such great shows. Where do you get your talent from? Where do you get your actors that participate in these shows? A lot of these are small cast shows.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you do a
You
few large ones, larger ones. So where does your talent pool come from?
They come from all over, but it's very interesting. When I'm the founder of the company and the artistic producing director, and when I first put the company together, it was under the idea of we would audition and we would take the best actors for each show, which we still do, but it wasn't. I wasn't thinking in terms at all of a resident company.
Great.
You know,
I'm sorry, I'm just going to cut you off because I want you. We got a little clip that you've given us,
Ah.
and so we're going to want to set up this clip about these actors or
Okay.
putting this together. So why don't you do a little
yeah,
quick setup?
the clip that we're going to show is we do a lot of world premieres, and we did a show called Billie. It was about Billie Holiday. Gail Lou played Billie Holiday. She's an Englewood resident. And Gail and myself wrote the show. It was very interesting the way we wrote it. I know quickly. She did all of her research, and I would sit and I would interview her as Billie, and it was a one-woman show. And then we just put everything down. And so anyhow, so what you're going to see is a clip from our production of Billie, which was a few seasons back.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and a very talented local actress playing title roles.
She's amazing.
So let's go to this little clip here we've got now, and we'll be back right after the break. Thank you.
Hey, we got a little joke around here. Name this man, turn to the dog counter, makes it bad. Everywhere you pay for it, you slept in, you pay for it, you riding in, you pay for it, you ate it, you pay for it. And you on that bus at 10 a.m., cause that is when the blue goose fly. You hear me silent, check you later, lady. Ooh, guess he told you. Ooh, what a little moonlight can do. Ooh, what a little moonlight can do.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
7,000 students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. Keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
Welcome back to Bergen Stages. Today we are highlighting the Garage Theater Company. We have Michael Bias and Tom Molyneux here as guests. And we saw a little clip before we had left for the break, and we've got something about their whole youth program here. So let's go to watch this clip and we'll talk about it right afterwards.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever.
As you can see, they do some wonderful things at the Garage Theater Group. Michael, tell us a little bit about that clip, because that's part of your youth focus.
Yeah, we have a real strong youth conservatory, and that was a clip from something that we did last year, something that we created. It was called "All You Need Is Love" and the Beatles. And well, and as you could tell, that was Strawberry Fields. It was a clip from our version of Strawberry Fields.
Did the students even know the Beatles before you started? I mean, were they? Did you have to reacquaint them to what this group was and what Strawberry Fields meant?
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't know that I went into what it meant, but but yeah, some of them knew. You know, these are kids, you know, aged from 10 to 18, and some of them knew some of the Beatles. Some of them were absolutely clueless. And their appreciation of the music and such, we created a new generation of Beatle fans, which I think is a good thing if we do nothing else.
It's a very good thing. So part of the programs that you do have at the group is for students, and these are classes they can take. I know you have a summer program and you have a year-long program as well. So it's a summer camp.
Yeah, it's. Well, the summer program, we have 2 3-week sessions. And in the morning, they have an hour of voice, an hour of acting, and an hour of movement. It's really dance. We call it movement.
We call it movement
so we
'cause
don't
the boys
scare the
will-
boys away. Exactly.
And what ages get to participate?
That's from 3rd grade through seniors, but they're bunched in their own
With their own age
group.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, then they have a lunch break, and then in the afternoon, they all get together and they rehearse the play that they're going to do at the end of the 3-week session. And you know, I call them kind of Reader's Digest versions of musicals, rather than try to tackle, you know, a full musical in 3 weeks. You know, you want to do something of quality.
But still, even it's still intense of rehearsal in 3 weeks. I mean, the young people are used to 2.5 months of rehearsal.
Yeah.
In their
Well, during the year, it's a 10-week rehearsal process. But this is 3 weeks, and then once a week, we take the kids to a Broadway show. So,
What an opportunity.
so that it's fabulous, and you know, I basically created a program that I wish I had when I was a kid.
Right, which is great.
You know,
You know
so,
what's needed, and you're filling that
right,
gap for these kids.
right.
That's great for the young people. And then you also have Tom. I know you're a playwright as well.
Right.
So there's a whole playwriting opportunity for young playwright or any age playwrights, but playwrights to participate.
Well, yes.
It doesn't have to be an age.
And the more mature.
How does a playwright get involved with?
Oh,
the
you
Garage
just
Theater?
send a script.
And then there's a committee that looks over these scripts.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Right.
Tom looks over it, I look over it. We have 2 or 3 other people looking over the scripts.
And I think if I remember right, you want to keep your space in mind. It's like you know what space you. So when a playwright is writing something, helicopters are probably not going to be dropping. In chandeliers.
Helicopters and elephants, you know, and they don't
We're
work
not
on
going
our
to do it.
stage.
So playwrights need to
Right.
keep theater head and
Yeah,
say
right.
this is for the Garage Theater Group. What did the space allow you to do? Great.
yeah.
And so you've done a lot of original pieces then.
Yeah, we've done quite a few. We've done quite a few. Many New Jersey premieres. A lot of world premieres. Yeah, I'm very proud of our.
Oh, you should be.
record,
It's
you
such
know?
an opportunity for playwrights that can't find funding to just get
Right.
people to once read
Right.
it.
You want it seen. You
And
want
you
it
want
seen.
it
You want
seen.
to. You want to know if it works. if you're a
Right, because
playwright, right.
as we talk about, the playwright is the maker of plays, not just a writer of plays, and it needs to be up in front of an audience with living, breathing actors doing the play. So,
Yeah. And especially at the Garage, because if you're doing like we did actually we're going to do a production of a play of mine about George S. Kaufman and Dorothy Parker, and we ran out of funding.
Right.
But we had the actors. And said, well, we set it up. We did a stage reading. Okay, and basically I directed it as also my play, and pretty much blocked the way it would have been in full production. But then you get the callbacks, the talkbacks, so you get the feedback.
you
from
need
the-
that feedback of
what works,
rewrites that might need to happen before it goes to its next level. Great. Do you go on to another level, like to other schools or other theater companies?
Some do.
That's
Some
wonderful.
do.
opportunity for
Absolutely.
that.
We're still looking. The clip you saw of Billy, we're looking to move that into the city. But
nice.
going back to something that you had said about the playwrights,
Right.
I believe it's really important to nurture new playwrights. I'm an actor. I'm a director, but I appreciate my art in both of those areas. But playwrights are primary artists. That's where it all begins. As an actor, I'm an interpretive artist. As a director, I'm an interpretive artist. And without that playwright's work, there's nothing.
Right.
So-
And so nurturing them along is such
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And from the other side, from the playwright side, it's not like if you write a novel, you finish typing the end and it's done. If you write a play, it's not. It's not done until it's in front of an audience.
And then it's still not, because you get the talkbacks from all your nights of performances, and you get so much more information. Can you leave it alone after it's done, or do you feel like you need to keep painting that picture in one more?
I'll be fiddling on my computer. I'll run up a script. Maybe I'll tweak this line.
We did a play of Tom's that I was acting in, actually. Okay, and after the first week of production, we were already open. He came to me and said, "Okay, listen, I want to change this scene," and I said, as the producer, I had to say, "Tom, this is it for this run. You'll make those changes, the next
run.
time."
Get it ready
exactly.
for it.
Isn't it the story about that? That was the first show I directed for him. He had the script, the French script, The False Servant. Okay, he read Maribel's script. He's
I wanted to do this play,
but he didn't know had an idea to do. So I told me to read it. So I'm reading it, as I'm going through, and I said, "What? This is like Commedia. This is." This is like the Marx Brothers. So I said, Michael, okay, if I was going to do this play, I wouldn't set it in France. I would set it on a Hollywood soundstage in the 1930s. This is a rewrite by the Marx Brothers writers. They're working on this script, And he looked at me and said, "Do you want to direct? And can I play Groucho?"
And that's what happened.
and we went ahead and did it.
That's terrific story.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah, but I think that's the discoveries that you make while you got the play right there. That's terrific. So getting back just to the company and everything that you guys do there. So you have the youth program, you have the main stage program, and of course the playwrights program there. So that's a lot going on.
There's even more so, actually. I mean, we pioneered a program, workshops for adults with Asperger's.
Tell us about that. Wow.
We did this with the Fiddle Foundation. We tend to look to partner with different organizations, and that was incredibly interesting. I taught that particular workshop, and what happens is, there's a lot of things for children with Asperger's. And Asperger's, I mean, that's, it covers an entire spectrum there.
Right.
But I believe it's when they're 22, they kind of age out of the system, and there's nothing for adults. So we put together this program and got some, national notoriety. I got a phone call from someone in Texas asking me about, can we set up a program down there? And sometimes you don't realize the outreach. I tend to be so involved with what I'm doing. I don't usually have any idea of the ripple
How it's affecting
effect.
the world and
Exactly.
what's going on outside.
Exactly.
So it's great. Texas.
So yeah,
Of all places.
Yeah, I mean,
And
right.
is this a continuing thing with the Asperger's workshops?
Yeah, we did 2 10-week workshops. We're looking to pick it up again, probably in January or February.
Wow.
Again, I hate to go back to it, but it's all about funding.
Yes.
And it's
Sure.
going back to what we were talking about before.
I mean, a lot of the educational things is part of that funding help to do that sort of thing, but that's great. But you're reaching to a
Absolutely.
community that is normally ignored, and I think you've really
Yeah.
are helping a lot with those kind of things.
We do a solo fest.
What's that?
A solo fest we started about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's 2 weeks in February. Where every night we have a different solo artist there. And that comes from, when we're talking about nurturing playwrights, that comes from a place where, as an artist, I know how difficult it is for solo artists to find a place to do their work. I am lucky enough to have a theater. I mean, I walk into that theater sometimes and I sit there and I go, wow, we have a place to work. So I feel it's my obligation, it's the garage's obligation to make that available if we have dark nights.
It's why.
Somebody should get an opportunity to work.
Right. Why is the ghost light on? Why isn't all let's
Exactly.
bring people in here?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the
So-
beauty of having your space and to be
Yep.
able to use it as much. So how many main stage productions do you try to do a year? Not the readings or the youth, but the
We
main
do 3 main stage productions. We do 3 youth productions, and then we have the solo fest and the readings.
Right.
And,
And your season is September to May? Or do you-
September to June. Our first show of the year is usually in November.
Okay.
October, end of October. We start rehearsing in September, end of October.
Yeah.
And then the last kids show, I hate saying kids show, the last youth show is usually the middle of June.
So you do get a couple of a little rest come August. It sounds like. Or,
No, we start
you
our
don't,
we
'cause
do
you're starting
a
your
summer
campaign,
program,
yeah,
right?
It never
Summer
stops.
program.
It never stops.
No,
So
it's
what
a
is-
real job.
It is. I know people think, but you're having a good time. It can't be a real job if
Absolutely.
you're liking it.
I've,
you
I've
know?
never worked
It's
a
not
day in my
fair.
life, but it's a real job.
I love it. So, do you have any goals that you're looking forward to in the next few years? The 20 years, because this year, if we have this show on our 20th or your 40th anniversary, where you
I hope to be breathing.
Yes.
number one.
We'll come in with matching bosses.
But to continue doing the great.
To continue growing, to continue reaching out to a larger and larger audience. We see our audience grow each year. It becomes more exciting. In 20 years from now, I don't know that I'll be here doing this, but I hope that the garage is there.
And the legacy of the Garage Theater Group
absolutely.
will be there as well.
Absolutely, and I see, and it's wonderful. I see, after 20 years of doing this, we've had some of our kids who have graduated college. It makes me feel old, but I've had them come back, and now they're directing some of the youth shows, or we're looking at doing one of the plays of our main stage this year, perhaps a play that was written by one of my former students. So it's coming full circle now.
What can make
And
you feel
wa-
better? I mean,
absolutely.
that's just what we want to do. That's just
Absolutely.
touching to so much of the community. I think what you guys do at the Garage Theater Group is incredible.
thank
I
you.
think I hope it's not a secret here in the county. I hope that more people will find out about you. On our screen, we're going to show how they can get in touch with you about the upcoming events, your website, and all that information. But Michael, I cannot thank you enough for being our guest here at Bergen Stages today.
Our pleasure.
Best of luck with your 20th anniversary season.
you.
And we do hope to get you back
Right.
before this, but definitely for the 40th anniversary.
And we'll see you opening night of our show.
Definitely.
Okay,
I would
very
love
good.
to.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great.
It's a
Very good.
date. So
Great.
thank you for joining us with the Garage Theater Group here on Bergen Stages as we turn our spotlight onto Bergen County and theater that's happening right here in our own backyard. Thank you.